G'day. Welcome, my friend, to WTK, the What to Know show about Win Bigly by Scott Adams. I'm your host, Peter Whalen, and I'm grateful to Scott Adams for writing Win Bigly. What I'm about to share with you is unbelievable, but true as far as I can tell. Have you ever wished that you could predict the future? Imagine that you could learn a more useful way to look at reality. Imagine that it makes you happier and better able to predict the future. Over 2 years ago, Scott Adams promised in his blog to do that. He didn't do it for the money. In fact, his speaking income went to zero. As a public service, he said what he believed to be useful and true. He succeeded in changing my view of reality and of humanity. If you've been reading his blog for the last few years, then there isn't much here that you haven't already read. It just brings it all together. In Win Bigly, it's his job to show you how he was right, so that the next time he makes a claim, you listen to him. When I was 7, I thought I understood reality, but I didn't. I was surprised to learn that even though it looks like the sun moves across the sky, it's the earth doing the moving. Still doesn't feel like it, but it's true. But the more important lesson that I learned is that I can't believe everything I think. I can be completely wrong about something and not even know it. Even now, there's probably something that I believe which I'm totally wrong about. I just don't know what it is. There's something about Win Bigly that, if you're like me, you're going to object to it. And with your permission, let's see if I can help get you past that point before I tell you about the book. I've been programming computers for over 30 years, and I like to classify data in binary, true or false terms. And that works great when I'm programming, but it doesn't work with people. If I like someone, I tend to see the good in the bad things that they do. And if I dislike someone, I tend to see the bad in the good things that they do. But there's something about myself that I don't like. I have a tendency to judge people by their most extreme actions, the best or the worst of what they do, whether they are naughty or nice. To be fair...
Oh, don't say to be fair. I hate when people say to be fair. It sounds like, to be fair.
To be fair.
Well, to be fair.
That's an ugly thing to admit to, but I see so many other people doing it that I feel like I'm in the majority. That doesn't make it right. I'm wrong to judge people. It's even against my religion. Scott Adams is helping me correct that. So why do I share my flaw with you? Well, you may prejudge the lessons in Win Bigly as they are mostly related to your favorite president, Donald Trump. Who says he's your favorite president? He does. Trump brags about things that I'd be ashamed to admit to. Scott, I call him Scott because that's his name. He doesn't know me from Adam. He predicted candidate Trump would win the presidency when the experts put the odds at 2%. At the time, most people's reactions to Trump were something like this scene from Mr. Robot. Let's have a look.
One last thing. I may have a potential candidate for president I want you to back.
Now, I've created tens of thousands of jobs over my career. Tens of thousands.
Look, the country's desperate right now, but you can't be serious. I mean, the guy's a buffoon. He's completely divorced from reality. How would you even control him?
Scott's opinion on what Trump was doing showed me that my understanding of humanity, of how we make decisions, was flawed. That's what makes the ideas in Win Bigly so valuable. Even the people closest to Trump didn't see what Scott was saying. I had the chance to ask George Ross, Trump's longtime lawyer, why he thought Trump ran for president, knowing that whomever is president is criticized and ridiculed by at least half the country. And according to him, George thought that Trump didn't know what he was getting into, that he wasn't serious, and before he knew it, he had won the nomination, and he couldn't figure out how to get himself out of it. And that's a possibility, but that doesn't provide any predictions. Scott's persuasion filter does. any fool can come up with an explanation of what happened after it happened, and many fools have. Win Bigly is the story of how Scott predicted what would happen every step of the way throughout the presidential campaign. And this is the first time I've bought an audiobook. I did that to honor the fact that Scott Adams overcame spasmodic dysphonia. It's a depressing condition that prevented him from speaking for 3.5 years. And so the fact that he can say his own name today is tremendous personal and medical accomplishment. He narrates Win Bigly himself, and I like the sound of his new voice. Now, to be fair...
To be fair, he
includes an entire chapter on Trump's mistakes. Scott explains how childish name-calling can be persuasive. Labeling his opponents as Crooked Hillary or Crazy Bernie or Low-Energy Jeb are what Scott calls linguistic kill shots. For many people, reducing a person to a one-dimensional label is more persuasive than providing all the facts. For example, if I were to call you a nice person, it would be a compliment. It means I like you. When Trump called his opponent Ben Carson a nice guy, it was a kill shot. Because where do nice guys finish? So Scott explains how oversimplifications are more persuasive than giving a complete and accurate explanation. So with good persuasion, you can visualize the result. That's why Trump kept talking about a big, beautiful wall instead of we'll have a variety of means to improve border security. From the first day, Scott explained that it would not actually be a wall from one coast to the other. Scott posits that we don't make decisions on complex topics based on the facts. Like, how can we when it's not clear what the facts are? If we don't have first-hand knowledge, then we are coming to decisions based on what other people have said and who we find to be most credible. It doesn't mean that we're right. Trump has his supporters, but the people that hate him a lot. Surprisingly, extreme anger that is beyond what the situation would call for is a sign that you're being persuaded. People hate admitting that they were wrong about anything. And if you're persuasive, then you better get used to people being angry with you. The hatred may be a sign of how persuasive you are. When Trump says something that persuades you to change your opinion, you can change your mind, or you can decide that there's something horribly wrong with him and reject everything about him. Not that there isn't stuff to reject. So, what do you think most people do? Now, to be fair...
Okay, now to be fair.
To be fair.
No one is all good or all bad. There's more to you than that. A child will look at one variable and decide if you're good or bad. When they play cops and robbers, there's no nuance. You are either good, the cop, or bad, the robber. But an adult recognizes that there can be many important variables to consider. There is such a thing as a bad cop. We've all done great things to be proud of and shameful things that we'd rather keep to ourselves. People in the public eye, they come under greater scrutiny, and we may feel that we know them. Like it's easy to look at Trump and say, well, I never did anything as bad as him. And I'd believe you. It doesn't mean that you're right. If you're ready to challenge your view of the world, I encourage you to read Win Bigly, if you want to. If you do, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Come back and post in the comments. And my thanks to Gord, who suggested today's show. Would you do me a favor, excuse me, and click on the thumbs up button to like this video, and click on the picture in the upper right corner to subscribe to my channel, because that's helpful. Share it with a friend.
That's fairly interesting. This is the What to Know Show with your host, Peter Wayland.